Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. John Tracy for Young, Conway, Stargate, and Taylor here on behalf of the applicant and developer, Summit Bridge LLC. With me is the aforementioned Mike Kaziski, who you met not long ago in the prior hearing, and also Andrew Kubasik is right behind me on behalf of the pre-snuck up. I didn't see him coming. On behalf of the developer. We had sent a brief PowerPoint over to Kristen for use tonight, but we're essentially seeking recommendation on a preliminary major subdivision plan on a nearly 1.9 acre parcel located along Summit Bridge Road at the northern edge of the town. We can actually zoom to the third slide. I guess not that one. There you go, that's good. The site itself is outlined, as you see, in the yellow and red with the aforementioned site on there. The properties on either side of this are in Newcastle County. They're not within the corporate limits of the town. The Middletown Reserve community, you can see, is to the rear and under construction. And you see Armstrong Corner Road at the top of the picture with the new Wawa right there. That's your landmarks on this particular slide. As you can see, we are a rectangular shaped property that fronts Summit Bridge Road. It was part of all the land that was originally utilized for both the Wawa and the Middletown Reserve piece. This is a residual piece from that that was not part of the Middletown Reserve community. It was annexed into town a number of years ago along with the rest of the property, and it is zoned R3. The next slide, if you could, thank you. The plan is fairly straightforward. It calls for the construction of a 30-unit stacked townhouse community with associated parking, stormwater management, and open areas. As you can see, the units will be equally divided amongst the three buildings with 10 units in each building. The design of the building makes it essentially look like 5 townhouses. By a stacked townhouse community, that basically means that each unit within the building is 1.5 stories. The first story would have the living area, and then there would be 2 bedrooms in the second story for what's considered the ground floor unit. The second unit would have a living area on the second floor with the possibility for 3 bedrooms on the top floor. The way it's designed, as you'll see in a moment, the fronts of the units actually face out. So along Summit Bridge Road or from the neighboring properties, you would see the front of the unit, and then internal where the parking is, that's where the backs of the unit would be. Each of the units has a garage parking space plus a driveway parking space, and there are 12 additional spots within the community, so they're actually more parking than what code would require for this particular instance. We can show. The next slide shows this on a more of the aerial photograph there, so you can see the access in and out would be from Summit Bridge Road. There would be no access to the neighboring Middletown Reserve community or to the neighboring parcels. Stormwater management would be to the rear of the property. We have had preliminary meetings with DelDOT. No traffic studies required because of the small number of units. It doesn't trip the warrants for requiring a traffic study. And then the last slide that we have shows you the renderings. So there you see on the left what I was referring to as the front of it. So that's what you would see from the neighboring property, from the Middletown Reserve property, and from Summit Bridge. And then the other slide that you see is the rear of the properties. Those would be facing internal into the community. And there is already an existing 8-foot tall PVC fence that surrounds this property as part of the Middletown Reserve project. And so that's there in addition to screening the neighbors, as well as a landscape plan that was also submitted. So we are here at this point for the preliminary review of this project and happy to answer any questions. Oh, I should say also one more. It will be a condominium style. It is an ownership project. It's not a rental project, but it will be a condominium.
For me, the first question I have is the one we asked the last time. There's no traffic study required, but the road goes from 2 lanes to 1 lane, about 60 to 70 feet from where that driveway comes in. I just see fatalities waiting to happen there because somebody's going to stop their car to make a turn into the driveway of the property, and you're going to have traffic that is already merged going 50 miles an hour right into that spot. I just can't conceive how this safely can render.
Take the microphone. I'll let the engineer respond to that question.
Yes, we've looked at that considerably. with DelDOT, with, you know, as we looked at the concept of the plan itself, the traffic that would generate from the site, the need for turn lanes, the ability to place the turn lanes. You do have 3 lanes across the entire frontage and extending to the south from the construction of the improvements for Summit Bridge Road. So we do have the ability to provide a dedicated left turn lane, so anybody that would be turning left to come into the site would be out of the way of through traffic, so you wouldn't have anybody.
Well, I'm more concerned about the traffic going south, turning right.
We would be constructing a dedicated right turn lane.
There will be a turn lane.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you did or did not do a traffic study?
We have not done it. It does not meet the warrants for a traffic study under DelDOT.
I think the first time you came through, that's what we asked for, when you came back, am I correct with that?
I don't think this proposal's come to you.
Yeah, this is the first time we've been in front of you with this proposal.
That was retail, I think.
Okay, so same.
Yeah, there have been other plans that have come, yeah, but not this.
Well, I think the same concern would still be relevant, regardless of what's, you know, constructed on the lot. Previously, we did have someone come through regarding, what was it? What did they want to, was it a commercial?
There's been a commercial proposal.
Okay, so commercial versus residential. Commercial, you'll have traffic in and out from, you know, open of business to close. So we have certain time frame in which traffic will be impacted. Actually, I think there's gonna be a bigger impact to traffic with a residential unit versus what we had turned down the last time, you know, proposal came through. And the last time proposal came through, we did ask, or unanimously, all of us were very worried, we have residents here as well. We're worried about the accidents that are occurring now in that area, so we asked for a traffic study. I guess they never came back with that traffic study. I'm not sure what the study would show, but I would be interested in seeing a study just based on resident concern and my colleagues' past concern.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of responding at least generically to your question, the residential would actually be a much lower traffic generator than the commercial, simply because there's only 30 units. Even if you factor in the average of what they say it's 8 or 9, which I think maybe 11 is single-family homes, it's less for something like this, would be total trips in and out during the course of a day, not necessarily all coming from 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 when a commercial business was open. Obviously, this is a development pattern that is consistent with the R3 zoning that's on the property, as opposed to, and I was not involved obviously in what was proposed in front of you the last time. We obviously do have to go through DelDOT. Again, we had the preliminary conversations with DelDOT, which is where the left turn ability to turn into the property, as well as the right turn lane into the property out of the path of traffic was generated from those conversations. And of course, we do have to go through the full DelDOT process to get our approval.
And with that as well, when we did look at the traffic generation for the 30 units that we're proposing here, we did look through DelDOT's warrant analyses for turn lanes for both left and right turn lanes, and that's where we've determined that we do need a right turn lane, and what we've depicted on the plans that have been submitted is the length of the turn lane that DelDOT will prescribe based on the speeds on the road and the amount of traffic that we would have here, plus the left turn coming in. We have sufficient space within the existing middle lane to provide for striping for that left turn lane coming in.
The internal streets in there, how wide are they?
They are 24 feet. Actually, we're wider. We're actually closer to 26 to 28 feet over on the back end. There are at least 24 in the middle here, and we have about 26 to 28 on the main driveway coming through.
And we had, as a follow-up to that, we had a different design originally, and we met with the town, and we actually revised the layout and adjusted the turn radiuses to ensure that the fire apparatus coming in could navigate around, as well as the trash trucks coming in could navigate around. the property. These would be, and Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, privately maintained streets. They would not be town-maintained streets as part of the condominium, but they are designed to accommodate, obviously, the vehicles that we need to get in there.
Yeah, we did ask the town if they would consider dedication to streets, and the town had declined something like this would be private.
One clarification about the length of the turn lane. Will the lane be in front of Jimmy's house? How far down will that turn lane go?
It's the taper itself, the lane will be contained within the frontage of the property itself. There's a taper on the existing shoulder that would be just across Mrs. Armstrong's property.
Within the right of way.
Within the right of way.
Yeah, it wouldn't be required.
Yeah, within the right of way and actually within the existing shoulder.
What about exiting the development? Will they be able to turn left?
Yes, Del we had that discussion with Del Dot in initial discussions as well, and they had no concerns about full movement access at this intersection.
You're gonna be kidding me, right?
No, absolutely not.
That's
Lights up there.
the initial discussions we had.
I do apologize, I'm not trying to make a joke out of this, or, you know, what I mean, a sense of humor, but to be honest with you, my heart just sunk. I mean, I have a 16-year-old daughter at home that my heart just thinking about it, that she went over to her friend's house over there, and to make a left come out of there. I mean, I'm actually starting thinking about it, like,
It's so dangerous.
I don't know about this.
I don't bother making a left-hand turn coming out of Rita's.
You're right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
In our initial discussion with Del Dot, they had no concern about that. We still
Well,
have,
I have concerns about Del Dot then.
we still have the full
How
entrance.
do you feel about that? I mean, I get that how Dowdot feels. Hey, that's all good and gravy, but how do we feel?
Yeah, the lower traffic volumes that you do have here, you do have adequate sight distance. It's a straight road, it's a relatively flat road. You really don't have any sight distance concerns here. If, you know, with the center turn lane as well, you do have a refuge area for those types of movements as well. We'd still have the full entrance plan process to go through once we get through preliminary plan approval with Del Dot. So we do have review with them formally as far as how they would look at that. And they may look at it a little closer and say, you know what, we want to do it this way instead of that way.
What happens if they don't? And what happens if you just take it under your own will to do it? What do we know that?
if they did-
say, you know, you can have that turn lane, or you don't have to.
Well, if basically they will say this is what you can't have. When we go in with our formal review, they will review the plans and say these are the movements we will grant you specifically. They won't come out and say yes or no as far as the specific configuration when we went in for our initial discussions with them. We can have the context discussion with them and say this is what we're proposing. They didn't have many concerns about that. You know, when we discussed this, there really wasn't much as far as full movement itself. Again, we still have that discussion to have during the full review with Del Dot.
I think we would feel, I would feel better if that discussion happened before you came to this body with this proposal.
And that's why we had our original initial discussions with them to say, you know, if we did have this as a full access, would you be looking, you know, would you have any specific concerns that you would definitely say, yeah, we would limit that.
We're talking about a hypothetical discussion
Right.
that haven't really happened.
And
But I
until-
think would be, you know, for me, my peace of mind, I would like to see that traffic study.
Morris, I do apologize, how much pull do we have in this?
Well, like we said before, if the applicant wants to table this.
Yeah, I know the table, but.
Otherwise, I would say it would be this body's obligation to give a vote that either puts conditions for council to consider, or if you don't like the proposal, recommend, you know, turn down a recommendation for approval, send it, whatever vote it ends up being to council, whether it's a 6-0 against it, or whatever that ends up being, if you feel like this doesn't warrant, or is it?
We put an addendum on here to mandate Dot traffic study to come back to the town.
I think you can mandate it if their code doesn't require it, but I would feel comfortable having put that condition for council to consider and our solicitor to review. Should it, if it has to be, then that's what you want, if it turns out you can't, then you can't, but I wouldn't have a problem saying, that would be considered, for us to consider working.
There's additional to the, I know we have community comments, public comment too, but additional to this concern of the traffic impact, there's, should it go forward, I do have another, not a concern, but a request. So the Secretary of Denrick, within the next couple of years, they're gonna be updating all the regulations. One of the priorities will be fencing around retention ponds. We're one of the very few states that do this. I have a son, Marcus, who's 4 years old. He is profoundly autistic. He's in a low.
I met him at Newcastle County Council when you were there speaking, yes.
So, you know our story.
Mhm.
And he is attracted to water. Most children who are autistic and people are attracted to water. That 1 out of every 6 children have been diagnosed with a developmental disability. 1 out of every 36 children have been diagnosed as being autistic. Those are just the people currently who have been diagnosed. We also have adults that have other diagnoses. This is a thing that we're going through as a society. We're evolving, right? How to keep our children and our most vulnerable, citizens safe. So I know that right now, this going through, it's not 2 years, the regs haven't been updated, but that is something that I would hope that you would consider, is putting a fence around the retention pond. My neighborhood, we have very beautiful fence, like there's so many options to have fencings that you can make it aesthetically pleasing. That's just something I would like to.
Yeah, and I don't even think certainly absolutely something we can consider. I don't even know if we're something that's even gonna be a wet facility or, a dry, but we can absolutely consider that in terms of when we're working on the final design for that.
Yeah, this facility will be planned for at least a fire retention type facility, so a rain garden. It will be dry, and you'll have essentially wildflower type, wet type plants that would tolerate when it does rain, that it is wet in this area, but normally it will be dry. And it's actually relatively shallow.
You can get down at a couple inches of water, especially when you have developmental disabilities and poor condition.
And certainly we can, if we had, if we needed to do that, we would do that. We just need to provide provisions for maintenance access and things like that.
Any questions in the audience?
Yes.
May I move to the microphone? Or Jimmy, do you want to go first?
Come on down.
Come on down.
Jimmy C. Marcone, next door to this place. Joanne's on the one side, and neighbors Bill Shahan, and then I have the landscaping place across from Caliber Collision. They don't see, DelDOT doesn't see the horror story every day. You're not getting out, you're not making a left out of that place between 3 and 6. That's not, there's not even nobody gonna wave you out. Gotta make the right, gotta go down to Spring Mill, turn around, come back. You have a shoulder, you have a merge lane. So you have 3 lanes, and they use all 3 lanes. The lane, the merge lane, and my shoulder. Come down there every night. I have to witness this every single night. That lane that they're talking about in the middle, it's beautiful, but what's it called? Oh, it's called a suicide lane, right? Where the ones turn this way or that way, right? Is that what it's called? It's called a suicide lane. Hello. Somebody, I don't know why DelDOT's even listening to this, or anybody. You can't make a left out there. Yeah, so somebody's got, why don't they just, I know they want to build, because greed is a beautiful thing. Like, yes, it's 1.87 acres, make a nice parkland, or you can take all the people and take them right back to Middletown Reserve. Is that what it's called, Middletown Reserve? All the townhouses with the people, I've already, 3 or 4 people have been on my property, in the back of my property, where I have a pond in the back of my property, and I see people back there, and I'm wondering what the hell are they doing back here? Like, yes. Now, we Italians, we like to bury people in the pond, but those people we let go that time. All the other people come around the front and they're walking on my front yard. This is 3 already in the last couple, well, the first people were about 8 months ago, which we notified Middletown Reserve about it. And then the other people were just walking up in our front yard, coming from there. I guess, you don't need no more there. And the accidents, and maybe the next time, we can pull some kind of a thing, because it's Middletown, so we can ask the Middletown police, how many accidents been there, or is it the state police, because it's on the main road, there's accidents all the time there. There's accidents at the intersection, and they're coming off that light. If anybody's seen it, they're coming down fast to merge in. And
They
don't
race to
in.
merge.
They'll go right on my shoulder, all the way down to Spring Mill, all the way down. There's 3 lanes there. Again, I'm just asking y'all to think about it before, because it'll be on everybody's conscience. I'm not, no bleeding heart, I'm just telling you what I see every single night. And remember, I'm pulling out of the landscaping trucks, even at nighttime. So what do I have to do? I have to stop the traffic with my truck. And then these people, I think they're waving to me, but they only got one finger in the middle. I guess that's the way they wave to me. But it's dangerous. It's dangerous. I'll let Joanne talk. Or you can come down some night and just sit in my driveway and you can have the show yourself.
Hi, I'm Joanne Armstrong. My husband and I reside adjacent to this on the north side at 5036 Summit Bridge Road. I'm going to kind of bullet my concerns and then talk in depth about them. The traffic, the congestion, the design of the property, the height, the visibility from our property to there and their visibility to our property, the lighting, the historic review and archaeological study that's recommended. So our house sits on 2.99 acres, but the house and 5 acres was originally placed on the historic register of, the National Registry of Historic Places, I'll get it, in the mid-'80s. So part of this sits on that property that's involved in that. And so therefore, the Delaware State Historic Preservation Office reviewed this parcel in question, and their archaeologists found the parcel to have medium to high potential for archaeological resources. And the office recommends that an archaeological survey prior to any ground disturbance, so that would ensure that any subsurface cultural or historical resources are properly identified and protected in accordance with state and federal preservation laws. Before I forget, I'll make the comment about Jimmy's congestion. Jimmy, you mentioned about the light would stop them, but when I want to make a left turn, yes, the light may stop traffic there going north and south, but there's all the cars streaming out of Wawa.
Correct.
Right, and coming down. So I have to wait for them too. And sometimes traffic is stopped all the way past, from Spring Mill Light, all the way past our lane and further up. And some kind soul may signal me out to get into the middle lane, so then I can try to get into the right-hand lane if I want to go north. Or they'll signal me out so that I can go south. And now we have Middletown Reserve that is fully sold and fully occupied. And also the Summit Bridge campus has 1 school at this time open and more schools coming. So there's more traffic there. Pardon me a minute while I check my bullet points. That's right. I was going to ask, when was a traffic study done? So we don't really know, and we're asking for one, right? Is that true? I had some concerns about fire engine and access, but apparently you've studied that. The next questions are about the design of what is there, should this go forward. Really, if you're going to face an historic property, you need a design that with architectural features that are sympathetic to the surrounding historic property. That includes attention to scale, materials, roof lines, window portions, overall character. Our house would face the front of those, right? The front of these buildings. Most of our windows are on the south side of the house, 11 in all. On the first floor, they are 9 feet and something high. So we also would like to know about street lighting. And should something like this go forward, we would recommend that the street lighting be something that is carefully planned to minimize light pollution. Fixtures should be shielded and directed downward to prevent horizontal or upward light spill, avoiding unnecessary glare or intrusion. Checking my notes here. And I heard someone say it before. Oh, and a couple other things. I would think that for visual sight lines all around, it would be best if the buildings were no higher than 2 stories. And then we would, as the preservation office recommended, a landscape buffer of trees are 12 feet high between that property and ours, so that can preserve the integrity of our property, and we don't need to see as much light glare and traffic in and out as might otherwise be possible. So those are our concern. Is there anything else to add? I'm asking my husband, Dick.
Not that I can think of.
Okay. So I hope I've addressed some of these other concerns that we all have. Thank you.
Anyone else?
We are gonna ask to table tonight, first of all, to see if we can get some more information from DelDOT. We have our request already in for the pre-application meeting, so hopefully we can do that, get some more information and come back. So have more answers for you on the DelDOT at that time. Just generally, as far as the lighting is concerned, for internally, as I mentioned, there's already an existing fence around the property, so the lights from cars would be contained within the site. Again, as I mentioned, as you see from that photograph there, that the buildings all kind of border the parking lot. The parking lot is internal to the site, so a lot of the lighting will be covered by those existing buildings. And additionally, similar to Newcastle County, you can't have the lights spill off the property. They'll be downward facing and other protections that are taking place to reduce the glare, so.
It sounds like light pollution would not be an issue.
Correct. So we would just ask for a motion to table and then we can come back. If you need to even do that, or if I assume you don't. Oh, so we're good? Okay, thanks.